Hello, Cosplay World! I'm back from Anime Milwaukee 2017, or as the title says, Amke, because that's like the abbreviation. If you went this past weekend and you are looking for a picture of yourself, I took pictures throughout the weekend of people that are awesome and people I enjoyed. I saw some really cool stuff, and if you're looking for your picture, feel free to click on the link, find the picture yourself, and take it and use it as you will. I hope to see you guys next year. And I hope you had a good time this year. Whew. So, this is my second year at this convention. Last year I really didn't have a plan, so I spent a lot of time sitting around. This year I definitely came with a plan, and then most of it did involve like doing the masquerade stuff. As anyone who's done masquerade knows, it pretty much eats like half of your Saturday, and you're just done after that. So that's a really good way to preoccupy yourself during a convention, is just participate in the masquerade. That'll eat up a lot of time. All paperwork and signing in and preparing, and oh boy, it's a lot of work. Oh well, I didn't win, but I had a lot of fun with everyone backstage. There was lots of cool things to poke and hang out with and see, and lots of people that I enjoy doing the same things that I enjoy doing with, and all that nerdy stuff. So I get to bring Gladius to another convention. I'm going to work on him a little bit more, refine him, figure out things I could do better, and such and so forth. So there's always another opportunity to enter him in another contest. I spent most of the rest of my time with a few people I knew at the tables outside the registration, and trying to help them as best I could. I'm not sure how much I actually helped, because they had everything. They were good. The registration, the exhibit hall, and the arts alley were all on the third floor, which is great because in the past year they had it down on the first floor, and it was a little bit of a traffic issue, so that was totally cleared up. I think they just had open tables people could sit at and rest. The ballrooms were used for the rave and the masquerade, and then also the game room. The other thing that they had was food vendors outside of the main ballrooms, which I had to have some of their food, and mostly because I became ravenous at points. I was like, I'm not walking a block or 2 blocks to get food. I want food now. So it's nice to have that option. So yes, World 9 were the people who provided the equipment for the game room, and they even had the pachinko people in there, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I spent a whole dollar, one whole American dollar, to get some ball bearings and put them in the machine and try to kind of maybe figure out how it worked or what I was doing. I didn't succeed, but I tried. I had fun pushing buttons and seeing lights. I hope to see them again at another convention and maybe give them a bit more money while I figure out how their contraptions work. The vendor hall itself was a pretty reasonable sized vendor hall. If you wanted to, I bet you could spend a good 3-4 hours in there going through the various wares and the things that you can't normally find, or just the custom-made stuff, of course, by the artists. So if you're coming to a convention to buy things, this is a reasonably good convention for that. It's definitely not one of the smaller college conventions where you can get through it in half an hour. Well, anyway, the vendor hall's pretty good. The other places I went to were the Tabletop Gaming, which they had at the Hyatt Hotel on the second floor, and they were actually supplied by the convention. It's very common for a convention to hire out someone who has these libraries, but Anime Milwaukee actually provided their own games and materials and things like that for the congoers to use, and that was pretty cool. Across from that was the manga library, which was pretty big, but unfortunately I can't provide too much commentary on that because I'm not a huge manga fan. I don't like to read too much. That's why I make videos and not written things. But if you're interested in a huge library of manga and other books, that was a pretty cool thing to have available to you as a congoer. Yeah. As always, the bar was packed downstairs, and that's kind of where the action's at. on Saturday night. Well, that and of course the rave. And people were out in their most ravey clothes because it was pretty warm, and so everyone had opportunity to display themselves. It was great. I came to Anime Milwaukee hoping for like, 20s and 30s so that my costume wouldn't be so hot and I'd be able to breathe a little bit. Oh man, it was warm all weekend. It was totally, you could t-shirt and jeans all day this year. The panels were largely on the south side of the building, and I believe there's the same amount of space were allotted to them, and there was a good amount of options there, running around 8 different panels or different events in the panel rooms at a time. And of course they had signings and meet and greets and things like that. Those were typically the meet and greets and the signings were typically the events that had the longest lines, and people were waiting for them getting in line early for those. The cosplay phone fighting people, they also got a pretty good slot, and I'm excited that they did. A lot of people liked that. I hope they get a good one like that next year, and I hope to see you guys next year. Good times to all. You look to me like someone who likes cosplay. Well, guess what I got? Lots of it. Check me out. Hit the sub button. Stream or two. See you around.